And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to, oh my god, to another week, another edition of the KungFu Cup WTL Winter 2023. I'm, of course, your host Live VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by my plushies, and by another tournament later. We'll get into it. We have a long cast tonight, but it's great to be back here with the third edition of the KungFu Cup, and we are diving right on into this again. The bracket is stacked. It is insanely big. It's huge. It's massive. It's throbbing. Exclamation mark B. In the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves as we dive into game number 1 of our fresh new series. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Radisson Station, we have the Brazilian Terran player. It is Kelazhur. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Red Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous. Here we go. Oh my. As we get into our fresh series, videos are done. First game is on Radisson Station. Already I'm excited. I'm excited. I am ready for it. This is known to be one of the most macro turtley maps in the current map pool. We've seen a lot of late game. We've seen a lot of sky toss. We've seen a lot of even mass BC on this map. Will that continue to be the case? Well, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it, especially because Kelazhur, he is not afraid to mech it up, even against Protoss. Kelazhur, he's a very unique player. So my eyes are on Diego. My eyes are all on Diego here on how he does open up and how he approaches his ex-teammate in SKillous. Again, Diego for a long time, Kelazhur for a long time, he was on Team Liquid. No longer is the case. He is a free agent, and I wonder how familiar he is with SKillous. Obviously they were teammates for a very long time. Now they are not. I'm sure there's no bad blood, but I wonder if Kelazhur can bring it to SKillous. Even though SKillous is one of the best Protosses in Europe, he's top 3. I would say Showtime and MaxFax are top 2. Then you have SKillous as number 3, and yeah, this is not going to be easy. Not going to be easy at all for Kelazhur. He's going to be going for a Rax Expand. Single gas opener here from our Terran player into a Marine first, not a Reaper. This means that Kelazhur has very limited scouting information. No SCV scout, no Reaper scout either. So Kelazhur is in the dark, at least until he gets like a factory out and like a Hellion or even drop play later on. As, oh my god, this Papi, Diego, this is as greedy as you can get in this matchup. We have a Rax Expand into a third CC on location straight away, and this is what we've been seeing a lot of this on this map, basically rushing into greed. Just as greedy as you can be, whether you're Zerg, Protoss, or Terran, this map is just all about being greedy and just turtling up and macroing your heart out. We'll see if Kelazhur can get away with it, as the first adept has made it across the map and will not commit to the shade. It is going to be forced back. Really good positioning out of Kelazhur, and again, clearly he's familiar with this map, so he's taking advantage of it. Meanwhile, across the map we have a Stargate opener, which also makes plenty of sense. For SKillous to go Stargate, Phoenix Colossus, I mean, that's like it's going to be so safe. Going to be so safe to go Phoenix Colossus on a map like this. So that should be the direction that SKillous goes in, as across the map we have the adepts continuing to try to push on forward. Good stutter stepping. Oh, he gets stuck! Good stutter stepping out of Kelazhur. The first adept does go down. The second adept will not commit to the shade, and does trade well against these Marines. One adept for 3 Marines. I would say a better trade for Kelazhur overall, especially considering that he's only working with Marines and not too many of them. So not too bad of a start here, as the adept does threaten the shade. Doesn't quite commit yet. Behind this, it's going to be a 3 Rax follow-up here to take advantage of the mass minerals that Kelazhur is going to be working with. He is also going for an engineering bay alongside this as well. Ooh, as the adepts keep on pushing forward. No bunker! Too greedy, Papi. No bunker without it. The oracles and adepts go ham. They take down every single Marine. The adept shades into the mineral line, and Kelazhur was maybe a bit too greedy here, as he is now being taken advantage of. We do see additional Marines coming out, but so much lost mining time. But we have a faster TC, so it kind of evens out in the end, and SKillous will confirm it, as he does get eyes on the orbital that is already done on location. So again, Kelazhur was cutting corners. He chose not to throw down a bunker. He, I'm sure, was assuming that we were going to be seeing not oracles but phoenixes if we were to open up Stargate. And Kelazhur just gambled a little bit, was punished for it, and as a result, SKillous can now go straight into his own third base as well. Meanwhile, I assumed it was going to be Phoenix Colossus. No, it is Oracle into Blink Stalkers instead, so SKillous is actually going to be the aggressor. Okay, a very aggressive opener here from SKillous. The Oracle does dip in, delays, denies that. Oh god, denies the missile shot, but a bit of miscontrol, and Kelazhur kills the Oracle. Okay, so never mind. I mean, we have sustained some damage and 4 SCVs went down, but an Oracle is quite expensive here, so for SKillous to lose it, Kelazhur's not in a bad position, and he's moving out. Bit of a beyond move out. Essentially, Kelazhur, as he moves out, Stim will finish by the time the army gets across the map. So a very crisp timing here out of Kelazhur. And we'll see what's at home to defend. We have a Stasis Trap, we have 2 Stalkers, and a Shield Battery alongside Nova Charge. Stasis Trap comes in. Gets 2 SCVs. The question becomes, will Kelazhur go up the ramp with a singular Marine? Can he trigger the Stasis Trap ahead of time? Or will he take the Stasis Trap to the face? Will he take it to the face? Here we go. Kelazhur going to be heading up that ramp. He scans. He sees the Stasis Trap ahead of time. He stims on forward, and he will not trigger it. The Marine does get targeted down, and we need to send a boy forward. Up. Oof. Will get triggered, but in the end, enough time has passed, and Kelazhur gets forced back. SKillous holds. And again, there's wondering, because of the way that the map layout works, SKillous is safely on 3 bases, fully saturated. There's only one way in, only one entryway, so it's just very easy to defend on this map. There's nothing to be concerned about when it comes to splitting up units and defending this fringe base or this third base. And from here, we can freely expand and take a 4th, and again, only have one area that we really need to focus on defending, outside of drop play, of course. Drop play can complicate things. And speaking of, Starport is on the way. We're going to be seeing an add-on swap with the Starport and the factory to get into medevac production. Marines and Marauders are well underway, but as Kelazhur is getting saturated on 3 bases, SKillous is taking up even further. I spoke about Phoenix Colossus, and we're getting there in a way. We are getting into Colossus, and second robot for double Colossus production. Meanwhile, SKillous, he knocks down the rocks. He's going for the gold. I just sneezed. I've never seen this, but I love the idea. So this 4th base is very well very well situated. It's very easy to expand here and take this as a 4th. The gold is very out of the way and very difficult to hold on to, but to knock down the rocks, to mine through these minerals, and for SKillous to expand in this direction towards Kelazhur is crazy, and I love it. As the gold base is taken, shield batteries and cannons are on the way, and SKillous is looking to fortify this base and take advantage of it, and Kelazhur has no idea. You see SKillous just poking here, just trying to get whatever damage he can. He will lose the Observer. Good pick up here from Kelazhur. He gets the Observer, he gets 1, he gets 2 more Stalkers, as well as he's going to be chasing the army down. Kelazhur hasn't seen the gold base, but SKillous may just drag the army towards the gold. And Kelazhur will now get a read on what's going on. Again, he has a very short rush distance to hit this base, but again, he doesn't know to head in that direction, not yet. So he's going to be moving out. The first Colossus has arrived, and SKillous, the direction of this Colossus should be telling of what direction he's coming from, and the bases that have been taken, as we are going to be engaging by the force fields. Force fields are too good. Kelazhur cannot engage. No! Takes a massive stasis to the face. And SKillous is looking dominant here out on the map. Has to be careful. This army is looking quite vulnerable, but he has been able to cut it up in half. Kelazhur getting ready to come in here from multiple angles. Getting ready to save this army if possible. Is going to be forced to stim once again. Scans ahead of time, and he should see the minerals being mined. He's going to chase this down, but we have a 3rd Colossus arriving. Kelazhur, he will dive on one of the Colossus, but no, Overcharge keeps it alive, and Kelazhur overextends. But he now knows. He is now fully aware of the gold. But can he do anything about it? He lost so much in that fight. Looking at the army trade here, he got 4 Stalkers, 4 Zealots for a mass amount of Marauders, and a medevac as well. Again, Kelazhur, he's got a solid economy behind this, and he is taking his 4th base on location as well. But as he takes a 4th, SKillous has a gold as a 4th, and he takes a 5th. SKillous has so much money to work with. With that money, goes up to 4 Colossi. Extended Thermal Lance is delayed. Interesting, he delayed his Extended Thermal Lance in favor of double robo production on 3-base economy. But now that he has his 4th, he is drowning in money. And now SKillous is moving out across the map. Kelazhur getting ready to receive. He does have a good concave, but he's up against 4 Colossi. He's going to try and set up a surround, which would do him well. If he can collapse on this army, he scans. He sees the stasis trap as well. He's going to avoid the army, going for a big counterattack to catch reinforcements. But he does pull back. Up. Good snipe on the prism. The army, though, is getting caught out in the end, as he's going to be forcing SKillous to chase him down. Meanwhile, they say, oh god, does he know? No! He saw it earlier, but may have just slipped his mind. Massive stasis trap. At the same time, Marines do catch workers across the map. 4th base, though, is going to finish up just barely in time, but can the 4th base be saved? Can we save the CC as we still on forward into Colossi? First Colossus goes down. We're trying to get on top of the next one. Up. It's close. A second Colossus falls, and a 3rd. And at 4th, the Marauders. Mate, they're popping off. Oh my god. The Marauders and the Vikings barely broke through. On top of that, reinforcements were stuck at home. That's the big thing, is that the prism went down, which means SKillous could not reinforce here on the front lines. He had to warp in back at home, and the Marine counterattack kept these Zealots back at home as well. Without reinforcements, Kelazhur did overcome that army, and now Kelazhur is suddenly in the driver's seat. He saves the 4th base, he gets it up and running, and he reset the Colossus count. What is the splash damage looking like? We have no storm. No storm. We have Archons, we have Charge Ults, we have 2 Colossi on the way. But Kelazhur is looking to snowball out of control. He could go for the Jugular, he could go for the gold base, but he goes for the 5th instead, just for some secure damage before he makes his way even further. The Vikings, oh, they do overextend. Nexus will go down, but again, we need more than just the base. We can keep on pushing. We need some EMPs. Up. Solid EMPs on the Archons. Overcharge gonna top them up, gonna try to. But there's just so much DPS here. The Archons, they should go down. The Colossus, they arrive just in time, but they're exposed. We can't quite dive on them. Kelazhur, he has to respect that position, has to back off. He's bleeding out units. Up, the mines. Oh, the dodge. The juggling puppy. Hot pickup from SKillous. He keeps his Archons alive, and SKillous will hold. He will force Kelazhur back. But this was merely the first army. We have a second army coming up behind this. There it is. It was rallied here back at home. He was not reinforcing. He was getting ready for a Zealot counterattack, but there is no counterattack, so Kelazhur can go for the second wave. Again, this gold base is still putting in a lot of work. It's giving SKillous a fighting chance right now. Kelazhur, he's up in army supply, but SKillous now has the defender's advantage. He can warp in. He has shield battery, cannons, overcharge. Kelazhur, interesting. He's going to be avoiding the main army. He's going to try to sneak around here towards the natural. He may force a recall as the army has been spotted. There we go. SKillous is going to be rotating around. Nova goes off. Ooh, gets one ghost. The disruptors have arrived. SKillous, he's closing the gap. SKillous, he was in a lot of trouble earlier, and I have to be a little bit critical of Kelazhur, he chose for some safe damage by killing the 5th base. He didn't go for the gold, and now the gold is paying off. At the same time, the big Zealot warping across the map. The gold base is exposed, but here comes the main army of SKillous. Ooh, he can't push in. Not into that concave. Workers are going down. The Zealot runway across the map is being cleaned up, and now we can focus. Oh, God, no! On the main push, the Novas! Big Novas go off, and just like that, Kelazhur, he loses so much of his army. He's going to lose everything. He did get the gold base. He got a couple of workers, but he will lose this army. The Novas were insane. SKillous will clean him up, and that disruptor count is getting higher and higher. We're still making, actually, what? There we go. 2 disruptors at a time. Back at home, Kelazhur can bring everything back together, but he's been taking some rough losses. You can see that 24 Marauders went down to those Novas. To the Colossi as well, but that was still a brutal connection. If it wasn't for that, potentially Kelazhur could have killed the army. As Kelazhur is reinforcing once again, but he does have to be very careful with how he engages, because now he has to deal with Colossus and Disruptors together. He has to try to contend against this death ball of an army. He is working on ship weapons, he's making Vikings, there is no Liberator transition yet. And to be fair, this area is very wide open, it's difficult to actually make Liberators work here. Would be difficult. Again, zoning Nova is going to be going off. 3 Disruptors, 2 Novas left for SKillous. Speaking of 2 Novas being left, they are both popped off a bit prematurely for SKillous. That will kind of create an opportunity here for Kelazhur. He does have an opening. But there we go. We have reinforcing Disruptors. We have 2 more Novas available. Kelazhur, he's got to be careful. He is out positioning his opponent though. SKillous moving out, and here we go, we dive on the Disruptor. Up! First one goes down. But the other Novas, they have reset, they have recharged, they're ready for it. The Vikings are going ham. We dive on forward, we're going to try and snipe the Disruptors. We take some big Novas to the face once again. We land the Vikings. The Vikings are going to be going down. But Kelazhur, he's been expanding. You know, he's been taking bases. He keeps his medevacs alive at least. Kelazhur, he was trying to do his best Beyond impression, but it didn't quite work out. Did kill the Colossus though. Oof. He did kill the Colossi. Scans ahead of time, sees another base being taken by SKillous. Kelazhur knows that he has to do something about it. These fringe bases are getting up and running. We got only 2 Disruptors left. Kelazhur, he sees the army, he sees an opportunity. He's going to rotate around. Fusion cores on the way for those Liberators that we were talking about for Liberator range. Looks like Kelazhur, he wants to go for that 5th base. He is spotted by the Zolnaga. SKillous rotates around. Good EMP. This time we do dodge the Nova, and that Nexus should go down, but another Nova goes off. Oof. Doesn't quite connect. Yeah, without Colossi, there's no consistent splash damage. Kelazhur, he takes down this base. But again, SKillous has a backup 5th base up and running. Meanwhile, Kelazhur, he's on 6 bases, fully operational. He has a better economy. The worker counts are similar, but SKillous is heavily oversaturated. 28 probes here at this base. And he's running out of money here at the gold as well. So SKillous, he's running out of steam. He's running out of gas. And Kelazhur takes his own gold. Some of the engagements, they've been a bit brutal, but Kelazhur, he's just maintained his position. Liberators are coming in. He sims ahead of time. He does go for one of those Disruptors. Never goes up. Decent connection from that Purification Nova, but there's nothing else left. We stim on forward, a dive on the army. We have scans available. The mothership's here, but is it going to be enough? The Colossus go down. Overcharge is not enough to keep it alive. We don't have a lot of anti-air. it's mainly a Marauder army, but GG gets called. And Kelazhur will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Diego taking that first game. But again, I do feel like a lot of the momentum that Kelazhur got in this game came down to the first attack. The first attack from SKillous. If you remember, it was when he committed with, I think he had 4 or 5 Colossus. I think it was 4 Colossus. Maybe 5. When he pushed in, before he had Disruptors. And if you remember, just before the fight started, the War Prism went down. It was in that moment where we were talking about how he couldn't bring forward any reinforcements. He was barely not breaking Kelazhur. He couldn't reinforce. He couldn't micro. He couldn't juggle his Colossus either. Kelazhur, he took a good fight, and from that moment, he was able to counterattack and stay on top of the economy of his opponent. The goal base was putting in a lot of work, but it was not enough. Not enough for SKillous. GG. GG. Ooh. And with that, that is game one. It's game number one. Oh. And now we're getting into game two. Our second game here of this best of three series. As a reminder, it is a best of three, which means SKillous has to win this game. He needs to win this game here. The pressure is on SKillous to take this game, to force the ace match. Otherwise, it could all be over here and now. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Brazilian Terran player representing himself, but leading the series 1-0. It is Kelazhur. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous. But talking a little bit more about that last game, I just loved the expansion pattern of SKillous, especially if you plan on being a very aggressive player on 4 bases. I love that he worked through those mineral patches, he knocked down those rocks, and he gained access to a very fast gold base, a very secure gold base as well. It's something that I haven't seen yet. Like, we've been casting a lot, of course, we cast every day, sometimes multiple times a day, but when it comes to games on Radisset Station, that is the first time that I've seen that, at least, so I love it. It's kind of an alternate expansion pattern that you can go for if you want to be more in the face of your opponent, of your opposing player. The downside, of course, if you expand in that way, is that your bases are more vulnerable to a counterattack, just because they're so much more closer to your opposing player, whether it's a Zerg or a Terran or a Protoss. It does mean that when Kelazhur does, or when your opponent does counterattack, we saw like how quickly Kelazhur moved out and how devastating that attack was. As Kelazhur is going to be a little bit cheeky, and he goes for an eBay block. Very nicely done. So with this engineering, oh my god, he's going to be forcing out a very exposed natural base. Kelazhur, once again, looking to be in the driver's seat. He had an SCV here at the triangular third, and now he's going to be checking the linear third base. With this engineering bay, it means that SKillous cannot expand. He's forced to expose himself, and this is going to be really awkward to hold on to. Meanwhile, back at home, it was a single gas opener, but we're rushing into a factory. This should be an add-on swap. This should be Hellions. Or actually, now that I think about it, it could even be Cyclones initially. Hellions will do well when it comes to harassing and going for a mineral line. Cyclones, of course, do well early on against singular gateway units as well, like Stalkers and Adepts. We could be seeing one, the other, or both, as I do have that add-on swap. Again, just a delay on the expansion. Kelazhur should be taking a natural, but we'll see if he decides to go for one base all in. Again, Oceanborn, this map has a very short rush distance, so if we wanted to go for a one base all in, this wouldn't be a bad map for it. We're going for it. Okay, we're good. I was like, yo, we throwing down the starport? CC on the high ground. Thankfully, the wall should be up, raised just in time. And what's scary is that SKillous hasn't seen the CC. He has seen the factory, and he sees that there's nothing on the low ground. For all SKillous knows, it is a one base all in. There we go. Cyclones have arrived. We have 2 more Hellions behind this. So we have the Cyclones to deal with the army. We have the Hellions to deal with the economy. And again, this has become a very common opener here in TVP to go for the Cyclone first as we're moving out across the map. Now we have a shield battery ready for this here at the natural base. We have 2 Adepts in position as well. And with these Adepts, we should be able to hold on, but the Marines, they have arrived as Kelazhur's rallying everything across the map, and we do not have enough engine for an overcharge. One Adept does go down, and we can see that Kelazhur, he's breaking through. Even with an overcharge, I don't know if it's going to be enough, as only 1 Adept remains. We have the Oracle coming in, but we kite back. We do kite back, the Oracle goes down, and that may just be a GG gets called. Kelazhur takes game number 2, and the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. We saw something very similar to this a couple of days ago with Clem. On a map as small or as short as Oceanborn, I think we saw it. What was the other map as well? I think it actually was on Oceanborn. Actually, it was Clem versus MaxPax. Clem versus MaxPax, where if you do force the unnatural natural on Oceanborn like that, and if you go for a Cyclone into Hellion, it can be very difficult for the Protoss player to defend. Very difficult, and it's a very powerful opener. GG, well played. Kelazhur eliminates SKillous from the tournament. Wow. GG. I was not quite expecting this result, but very well done here to Diego. As we do get ready here for our next series. As we do look for our next series, actually, because Diego advances on in the tournament to wait for the winner of Showtime versus Rewhite. And there's a lot of updates.